Hello and welcome back to another episode of Meet the Society for Manchester and District Referee Society. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Paul Houston. So Paul, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Well, thank you very much, Henry, and I'm delighted that you've been able to do this. Well, at the moment I'm chairman of the Referee Society, which is a terrific position to be in. But if I give you a bit of my background, I've looked what Henry and Johnny have done before. But Stephen and Johnny. And I started refereeing at school, which is William Hume Grammar School, Manchester, but they don't do it anymore. They've gone to an academy and such and packed it in like many of the schools have, which is a shame, really. Went on to university, to Nottingham, but I played there for the halls of residence because it was terrific. I suppose camaraderie there, more so than in the university teams. And we went a couple of years unbeaten. It was a terrific time. Left there and a year at Sedgley, and then ended up at Bolton, where I played quite a number of years for the first team. But after 3 times of having somebody run up my back, I decided enough's enough and took up refereeing because we'd got a guy called Arnie Redman who was in the society, good referee. And he said, well, just try, just do it. So I did it at the club for a number of years. And then when I felt that the family could let me go, which was a bit later on, I joined the society and I've been in it now for 30 years. Sadly, I joined at a time when if you do a couple of years at this level and then you do a couple of years and you thought, right, okay. But I just wanted to ref. And my ambition, because I worked away from home a lot and such and couldn't do so much, was on Saturdays. I was happy just to go out to referee, enjoy it, do a good job. And I wanted to referee Bolton, which I managed to do. They were level 8, got to level 7. So I got to level 8 and occasionally doing level 7 games, which suited me. It worked in with the timetable, and especially towards the end of my working life. I was sort of working away from home and get home on a Friday night. So Saturday afternoon, I'd referee, and Sunday night, I'd be back off to work. So fortunately, my wife was very understanding. I always used to say, well, it gave you a chance to do my washing and such and ironing, which really went down well.
I can imagine.
But she was very good. She was very good, and I could do that. And then when I finished up, and I retired, Mr. Ennis, in his wisdom, decided to approach me. I mean, we're good friends, we're talking all the time. And he said, how do you fancy helping out on, doing the appointments? We could do something. So I said, right. He says, go and have a look at people, get you sorted out and come and help. So I did. And he was doing the admin side, and I enjoyed it very much, working with him, with Alan. Initially with Nigel Longley, and then later with Kieran. And so at some stage, I got, how do you fancy, have you ever thought of being chairman? No. Well, what about secretary? Well, let me think about it. So, well, don't take too long. No, just think about it. And I noticed that it was minuted at one of the exec meetings, Paul Houston is thinking about being secretary. My wife said, you do realise this is going to be a job and it won't just be part-time. No, I'll be all right. So I said, okay, I'd do it. And Jeff Gill, who's sadly no longer with us, handed over the books, and I said, are you going to miss it, Jeff? And his words were, well, I'm going to get my life back now. I thought, what have I done? And out came these 10 big boxes. He said, well, all the information's in there. Oh, she's joking. That went into storage and away I went. And I must say, it's been a terrific time doing it. I've learned so much about society, how it operates. It's a really good base to do it. It's not something I planned to do. It's something that I thought, well, I can help out with. And it's been good to do. So there you go. That's me. And just able to go along and observe under Clive's dear auspices, but also to carry on refereeing.
Yeah, I think it's a real nice omen maybe for referees that are still within the society now to sort of almost they've given up time to referee and have enjoyed it no matter at what level they've gone to, whether that be, you know, the bottom or going towards the top. But it's good that they've been able to, you know, you've given an example of how you yourself have stayed, contributed to the society, gone through different roles, and now obviously you're in the chairman role, which no doubt will will open up a whole bag of different issues and maybe doors to change. So I think that's a real exciting thing to do, to stay involved and obviously still add your ways across. I think one thing that I really wanted to ask you, and I think people maybe who are watching this or listening to it would be keen to know, is sort of how have you seen the society evolve and change over that 30-year period? Because that's not, you know, a short amount of time. That's a nice period with lots of different people, lots of different referees, lots of different, you know, ways that we function within the society. Is there anything that you think is, you know, stand out, or, you know, how have you really seen it evolve over time?
We look after our referees. We've always backed our referees as society, but to bring them on, to give them an opportunity, has just, like yourself, for instance, you've not been with us that long, but it's been great that it's been recognised that you can do it, you can move on. And I think of the young lads who are moving up very quickly too. So the policy has been, your first match, go out, make sure we see you. And we can say straight away, and I've done it with one or two people, this guy's he's good for us and we think he's going to move up and do well. And that's successful. That's led by Clive. You know, he says, look, we will make sure we will see everybody. We see everybody twice a year, and we'd like to do that more. So Nigel Yates, who said at the meeting, you know, we need more coaches, and he needs more coaches up at the higher level. But we need them throughout. We need to make sure that we can guide our people, because not everybody is going to get up there. They're going to stay at a certain level. We accept that, like I did. We just want them there and to enjoy the game. So it's evolved there, that the mentoring system and the educational system, I think, has got better. When you think what Andy McMillan did with his POs, and that is, again, is going to be further developed from that, and the communication. I mean, we've got both Johnny and Simon Vale on exec now, and they don't hold back. We thought we were doing all right for communication. No, you're not. What do you mean we're not? Well, don't think people read emails. You've got to get out there. And it started because we were discussing recruitment, because we seem to have been a little bit slow this year in pulling as many in. We did very, very well last year. But and they said, you must get out there. You must go on to the social media. And I'm delighted that you're doing this, because this is, honestly, it's a great start. So, but you're going to get roped in now. How we're going to rope in referees, what we're going to do, what can we do on these? And that's what we must do. We've had the poster campaign, which we started a couple of years ago. We resurrected that, but we wanted to do more. So these guys are, it's good to have the younger end coming in to the society, to the exec. The problem is that it's difficult for people who are working with families to give up the time. And we've seen that time and again when they've been able to do a couple of years. And I'm sorry, jobs, I've got promotion, I've done this, I've done that. You've got to accept that, which is why it's run. Most societies, if you look at them, sports clubs and such, are run by people who are retired who can devote the time to do it. And it effectively becomes a job. When I look round the exec now, of all who are there, every single one has a lot to contribute. I mean, and those who've left, Paul Watkins, Andy McMillan, and Roger, have given so much time. Roger's still doing it. He's still he's of course with the federation, but he's heavily into the discipline side and working with the RFU. So there's a lot going on, and I think also we've got to explain to society, the members, what we're actually doing as well. I think that's the way that we'll move forward, and that from the exec we'll say, well, we'll pass this message out and make sure we get it right. I think Who's the Ref has been a tremendous success. Some of it is dross. We know that.
Understatement.
We know. and some of it we've had to be a bit roped in, but we've pulled people back. But it's good that we can talk. We've never had that, and the feeling when I started was often that you're on the pitch and you're on your own, and because I was not seen in my first match, and it was a while before I was, and you think, right, am I doing right? What's going on? But I've noticed that the support that is given on Who's the Ref is very, very good indeed.
Yeah,
and that's the way it should be. That's what we need in society. It's great. It pulls everybody together.
exactly. I think one thing that was probably a good theme from, when I spoke to Johnny or when I spoke to Stephen, I think, is that support. And obviously you've just reiterated there about talking about people coming to watch, and you're talking about, younger potentially members on the exec now to try and add a voice, but also learn from the people who have been there for years, learn from people who have been there and done it. I think that's something that we've got a lot better at, even in the 4 years that I've been there. I think we're in a real good place now where it's almost value exchange between all members. So even if it's somebody who potentially is really new to the society, their views are still valid because it's that fresh perspective on things. And the exec, and obviously tell me if I'm wrong because I'm not part of it, but the exec seem to be, from my side, very open to opinions, open to change. If there's another way of doing things that we think the membership would benefit from, let's try it, let's do it. And I think that's a really nice, society to be a part of.
Yes, it is. We do recognise, though, of course, that we're being older. We say we need more new blood and such, and happy for people to come in. So, and we do every year. We put out there, of course, if you wish to stand, do. It's more strong arm tactics than anything else. It's the people volunteering, as you can imagine. I'm not strong now. We all have been. And a willing volunteer is great. So we're aware of that. We don't want to be seen as a closed shop. And yes, we are prepared to listen, and we'll do. I always believed that every company at one time, every company would take 5 years and there'd be a change, and then it came down and down to every 2 years. You cannot stand still. You've got to look ahead. So of course, I'm thinking of 1 or 2 things to do to bring in that I've seen. Roger did quite a bit, and he when he led it, and Mike Hamlin before them, and they started off. They realised now that there's a gap between when we bring people on with starting to whistle, which has been a tremendous success. That's been a great way to start people, to add to the ERRI. It doesn't replace it; it complements it. And so we now need to take people forward on the next phase, sort of in between, as far as they can go up to federation. And I will say that I went to the federation meeting at Kendal a few weeks ago. And it's inspiring to see all and there are young referees make no, because the fitness test, crikey, some of them are absolutely rapid. So I would never have got up to that level. I've got to admit that as a second row, trundling up and down. But no, the whole thing and the whole ethos, and of course Nigel Yates leading it with the theory of the quick game and bringing all these ideas. I mean, Manchester are incredibly well thought of. I hadn't appreciated that, but you talk to people and they are what we do, from bringing referees in, from writing to them, to getting the, who's the ref, and get on that and such, and just bring people on. It's good that we do it. Not everybody does it.
I think it works really well, and you touched on a couple there, because it's that we're almost trying to get to a real consistency point of view, and obviously that's one thing that we're trying to, maybe referees get criticised for, but really the same philosophies that we're trying to implement in the federation. Johnny, who's obviously a referee in the federation, is now head of learning and development for the society. So naturally, those sort of key principles will trickle down, and then hopefully, when it goes to those YMOs who, are obviously on a pathway to develop into the society, then into the federation, it's almost, we've already had, 6, 7, 8 months worth of content for them to look at, and it's already, not, we're trying to trickle them into the right training at the right time. We're not trying to bombard them at once, are we, with everyone's opinion? And we've heard the expression like too many cooks, so it's making sure that we're feeding everybody the right things, and everyone can go away and think of their own way how they're going to implement it. And I think that's a real benefit to everyone at the society, not just federation, and not just sort of YMOs or starting to whistle new referees that are coming through. So that's a real benefit from what I can see anyway. I think I'd really like to touch on, obviously you spoke about that, 30 years within the society. Is there any advice that you'd give to referees? Obviously you spoke about get watched, get sort of feedback. Is there anything else that you think would be wise to pass on?
Yeah, there's one thing that struck me many years ago. I got invited to Twickenham, and it was the Sevens, and we're out in the car park and we're having something to eat and such. And the guy who organised it, it was Jason Robbins. I think it was what coming around, and he said, "What would you, as a referee, what do you look for?" He said, "I can handle anything provided you're consistent," and that was it. Just take that away with you. So. Yeah. That's what you got to do. And you thought, oh, it's very simple, very straightforward. No, anything you like. Just be that, we'll play.
Exactly.
Fair enough then.
Exactly. Be the wildest decision maker in the world, but as long as you do it in the first minute and the 80th minute, everyone can.
Yeah.
No, that's a good piece of advice. I think I kind of just want to go backwards, actually. So you spoke about obviously maybe some ideas for the society that you potentially have. I know you probably can't share.
Well, I'd have to pass them through exec first, and they'd have to get beaten up, and then they'd tell me, yeah, okay.
But is there anything that you can speak about, or any broad topics?
Well, I think education, and I mentioned that it's already started, that working on additional training outside the society meetings. I mean, society meetings have become much better. There's more people attending. We're getting more referees, and it's that next step. How can we train people up and make sure that we can guide them through, show them a pathway of going forward? This is how you can go forward, and we can train them. We used to have the forums, which were before your time, which Nigel introduced, and the referees who were in Federation would come and would hold meetings that were additional to the society meetings, and they concentrate, and you could speak probably more easily, more readily. And it's perhaps thinking about bringing something back that we can do like that. I mean, the good thing is that yourself and actually Kieran and others and Johnny, you're at Federation, but you come to the meetings, and that's a big help. It's not as if you've disappeared and gone into, oh well, we have some. You're there. People can see it and can talk to you. And I think that's what's great. That is a good thing that's happened too. That's come on. We hope that a lot of the we can get the mentors there, and such, the great mentors, and so you can also speak to them. And I've been quite fascinated, well, delighted really, that people like Tan will speak up in a meeting and give force, not afraid to do it. That we've now got the women coming in. And again, the part of it, I said, do you want to represent? No, we don't want a representative. We're part of the society. We're the same as everybody else, which I think is great. We've got the YMOs. John Rook's done a great job bringing them on, improving them. He's handed it over now to Richard Beveridge. So it's been a success. There's no two ways about it when I look at them and how enthusiastic they are and what they're doing. So yeah, well, I'm very keen. The nice thing is, I think Nigel explained it very well. When somebody does well, when you've coached them and they've done well, you feel great. Well, I can tell you now that when we are writing to people who want to join us, and we've got a format which we adjust to the individual, as we do with our welcome letters, is that we can say, particularly to YMOs, there's no limit to your progress. And we give people an example perhaps Nathan, perhaps Jeffrey, perhaps and yourself, whatever. In so many years, we've achieved this, we've done that, and it gives hope to people saying, "Well, that's terrific. We're not limited. We will just do it. We'll push you." And that's been, Brett Eckersley, he's the one who thumps the table. The exec says, "We've got to do this." You'll hear what Nigel says. Well, okay, so people make mistakes. So what? Let's get them up there. Let's do it. Let's push them. I'm sure you've pushed.
Yeah, and it's that philosophy around sort of, I wonder how he or she will cope with this. And I think some societies potentially, from what I've seen, would go on, a bit too reserved to try it. Whereas we're very much we won't know until we try them with it. We won't know until we give them that game. We won't know until we do this. It's not that preconceived sort of ideas. It's almost everyone can go as far as they work to get to, essentially. So I think that's a real nice sort of benefit of being in Manchester.
Well, look, yourself, congratulations on getting to the associate of the PGMOT, which is superb. It really is. And you've been pushed.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
You've taken it up. You still use the photograph of you in your glasses when you started off.
Yeah, I know. I've got so much for that. But essentially, for people who don't know, there was we did a poster, didn't we, to try and get new referees.
That's right.
And the one photo they used of me was like that, I think my second or third game, and obviously I still had my glasses on then. And I remember Nigel ringing me saying, "Do you referee with your glasses on?" "Yes." "Well, you won't from next week." I was like, "Oh, right, okay, I guess I won't be then."
I think that's why we enjoy using it.
Exactly. So now I feel like that photo is used everywhere because I think everyone knows. No, listen, this has been great. I think one thing I wanted to ask very quickly at the end, I've asked obviously all the people who are panel before this, is favourite club to go to for any particular reason. We've already had Bowden, we've already had Wilmslow, and we've already had Duckingfield. So if there weren't one of those three, that would be great. But yeah, favourite club to go to?
Well, when I go back to clubs, it's nice to be well received. But I think Clitheroe is one of my favourites. Probably because I've done them a fair number of times, and probably because when I started off, I was early in my career, I twisted my ankle there, and the mud. Some pitch they've got. First match back 6 weeks later, Clitheroe. What else could it be? But I think that's one. Eccles are good too. There's so many good ones, but that one stands out.
Good. No, that sounds really good. Listen, thanks so much for speaking and your time this morning. And yeah, obviously just wish you well for your season as chairman. And look, we're really looking forward to seeing all the positive changes that are going to be making, and obviously continuing on the stuff that we think is working really well. So thanks so much, and I'll speak soon.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Henry.